Hey there, lady. My name is Molly Conley, and I'm devoted to helping women reinvent their love lives, whether that's after divorce, dating on and off the apps, or in their committed relationship. Why? Because I've been there. I'm a former college athlete who filed for divorce 3 years into marriage, swam in the online dating pool into my late 30s, and now I am married to the man of my spreadsheet dreams who I met 4 months before the world shut down. As a dating and relationship coach, I help my clients shift the focus from being obsessed with finding Mr. Right to shifting to herself as Miss Right Now. We build a foundation filled with clarity, connection, and confidence, knowing she is worth waiting for. Each week on the podcast, I'll bring you love life insights and savvy guests, where you will receive the courage to release programmed limiting beliefs. Discover patterns and behaviors restricting you from finding and attracting quality men, and ways to choose yourself first so you can build a foundation for a healthy relationship with yourself and a partner. Hey there, lady. Thanks for joining me on the podcast today. This episode was inspired by Amanda McPherson during our episode about friendship. We were chatting afterwards about a few of our personal struggles around making friendships in a new town. And that's when I said, I just don't have the time. Like, wow, what did I say? I don't have time for friends? Oh my God. So from that moment on, I realized I had no boundaries around my work hours, which led me to have less time for friendships, less time for Brad, and many other goals. At the same time, I was surveying single women about their problems around dating. I was shocked to hear that some women feel like there's never enough time to date. So today I'm going to walk you through what I did to start rebalancing my goals, like making time for friends and spending quality time with Brad. And this is something you can do for yourself, whether it's, for you to make more time to develop your sense of self. Maybe it's devoting more time to date, or maybe it's even just like a different goal altogether, something that's focused, maybe on your health. Basically, you can do this in any area of your life, but I know it can be difficult setting goals with dating and relationships, as they're always somewhat tricky because they involve at least another person. So before my episode with Amanda, my life, it was hectic, just like everyone else's, right? So in both my professional and personal life, we're gonna do that over. So before my episode with Amanda, honestly, my life was a little hectic in both my professional and personal life. So just with podcast episodes alone, there's deciding on the topic, writing, recording, editing, promoting, sometimes researching. If there's a guest, I do research about them. I gather questions. I ask for their bio and a photo in order to help promote the episode once it's live. But of course, podcasting isn't what I really do. So I have 1-hour sessions with clients. I have Voxer support days. I have email follow-ups, giving resources to clients between sessions, and even developing new programs for next year. And of course, on top of that, there's emails, social media creation, finances, networking, strategy, future planning and professional development. If you're a coach or if you're an entrepreneur, you know it's difficult to do all these day in and day out, which is why you can always be working. So my personal life only had time for the basics, like sleeping, eating, and moving my body. And physical therapy was taking a lot of time, if I wanted to be honest. With all that said, I was putting friendships and even Brad on the back burner. So, how did I get to where I'm now seeing a friend once a week and spending, quality time with my husband? Oh, and working less hours while still loving my business. And how can you do this to make more time for dating, yourself, or any goal that you have? But before we get to the how, we need to discuss what is going on here. So, whenever we say we don't have enough of anything, whether that's time, money, energy. It's about what is enough. And ladies, that is linked to your expectations. What are your expectations of having enough time to date? Are you thinking of all the things you have to get done in just like a regular day just to make it to bed? Are you telling yourself that you need to make time for your friends, your parents, or your kids or your pets once you get home from work? Are you committing to more and more work projects, keeping you working late or on the weekends? And those sort of expectations centered around other relationships, your career, or your version of successful life, or whatever else, it's actually holding you back from dating. So, because of those expectations around other areas of your life, you say you don't have time to date. But what about when you focus on dating in general? Are you thinking of all the times you spent endless hours trying to craft the perfect profile? All those hours you spent swiping on people who ended up being a horrible first date. All of those times when you got on the apps and saw the same people you saw 3 months ago. And all those experiences, what do? They tell you what your next experience is going to be like, so you don't even want to waste your time. Does that sound familiar? Okay, so when you're in this spot, we need to ask 3 questions. Number one, what are your expectations of having enough time to date? Number two, what does it feel like to have enough time to date? Number three, what does it feel like to have enough time to date? These 3 questions are going to help you work through these expectations, even those experiences which created some of those expectations that you're kind of setting yourself up to failure because it's going to, waste your time trying to date. Okay, so now let's get into discussing the how. How did I get to where I'm seeing a friend once a week and spending quality time with my husband, where I'm still working less hours and loving my business? First and foremost, just getting this out of the way, all of this takes time. I started working on rebalancing my time, my energy, and efforts at the very beginning of October. Everything I'm going to share here are small changes, basically small micro shifts that gave me more time to enjoy different areas of my life. So we're going to start there, your life. Some of the main areas of your life would be something like, work or career, your health, finances, people. Those are the main 4 that I would necessarily focus on. And honestly, it's difficult to have all 4 or even more of these as a priority in your life. So when everything is a priority, you have no priorities. Instead, you have stress. So think of the main areas in your life. Which ones cause you the most stress? Which areas of your life do you want the most change to happen? And I want you to pick 3. Only 3. So for me, mine were my business, my health, and my relationships. And so I asked myself the following 3 questions. What do you desire? What is your goal? What is your intention? You might think that these are all the same questions, but they're not. So, for example, with my business, my desire was to stop working so much so I could spend more time with Brad and my friends. My goal was to figure out a way to accomplish what I wanted during a typical day within my typical work hours. My intention was to make my business hours more efficient. So, a dating example could be your desire could be having a partner in your life to make memories with. Your goal could be to make more room in your life for dating and maybe a relationship. Your intention could be to set boundaries with other areas of your life to start accomplishing your goal around dating. So once you get clear on these 3 questions, you move into the small changes to shift your direction. So before I was making any small shifts, I was probably starting work around, if I want to be honest, 10:30 or 11 a.m. To be only taking lunch at 2 o'clock and then working till 5 or 5:30. eating dinner with Brad right after that, and then returning to work around 7 and staying in my office until 8:30 or later. That doesn't sound really bad, but it was so piecemeal work throughout the day that I could not accomplish still what I wanted. It was not my ideal Monday through Friday sort of work lifestyle. And of course, I'm not even mentioning the hours that I work on the weekends. So, what did I do? I had to see where my time was going. First, I noticed I was cleaning up our kitchen from our breakfast and picking up our apartment from the night before, which caused me to lose out on about an hour of work in the morning and forced me to work at night to get what I wanted accomplished that day. I noticed I was sleeping in 15 extra minutes and taking longer to get ready in the mornings after my workout. I noticed that I was on my phone constantly to check Instagram, email, and texts. So here's what I did. 2 weeks ago, I turned on my screen time to record how often I use my phone. I average about, and sometimes I think it's kind of embarrassing, but whatnot, who knows? I averaged about 8 hours and 36 minutes of screen time for the first week, which totaled almost 52 hours per week. And Instagram was the most. It took up a fourth of my screen time. So, this awareness has helped me tremendously, and I'm in the process of changing my habits. I also changed my sleep schedule. So, if you're a parent, maybe you do this as well. But before returning to school during the summer, my parents would change our bedtime by like 5 to 10 minute increments until we were back at the time they wanted us to go to bed when school was back in session. So then we weren't like extremely tired trying to go to class for those first few days. So Brad and I have a goal to be in bed and lights out. And we have kind of like screwed that up over the summertime. And I think a lot of us have. But our goal now is 9:30. But we still want to wake up and work out. So our alarm, we would constantly hit snooze. So now the alarm has been pushed back by 5 minute increments each week until we are at our goal wake up time, which is 4:45 a.m. And we only hit a 5 minute snooze once. This is allowing me to have more time for my workouts and enjoy my mornings. I am a turtle. I love moving really slow. I just hate feeling rushed, and I still want to have that healthy lifestyle because it's a really high goal on my list. So, as for getting ready, I left post it notes on my mirror saying to be intentional with my time. So, no longer do I allow myself to scroll through Instagram as I'm getting ready. I also have adjusted my routine to make sure I'm doing what's best for myself versus what others might be expecting of me. For example, some people might think I always have my hair curled, and I don't. It usually takes me longer. And so sometimes when I'm running behind, I'm just going to straighten it. Last but not least, I had a conversation with Brad about cleaning. He didn't realize how much cleaning I was doing, which was causing me stress before I started my workday. All I asked was for him to pick up after himself because I wasn't going to do it anymore. This one conversation has made one hell of an impact because it also released any sort of frustration and stress in our relationship. It also gave him the awareness of what I was trying to accomplish overall for myself, which helped hold me accountable. So, believe it or not, I am now starting my work days at between 9 and 9:30 and working till 5. Only a few nights a week am I working into the evenings for client calls and recording podcasts with guests. I now have time to carve out with my friends. I'm helping my family start planning for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'm making more shifts in my workouts, and I'm seeing changes as to what I'm also saying yes to. So, how can you do this? First, like I said, when you have a good sense of boundaries with yourself and you know your desires and you're willing to be intentional with your time, it's easier to set boundaries with others, which usually just means communication. So if your boss wants you to stay late to work on a project, state you already have a prior commitment and you'll have to look at adjusting your current duties or priorities to fit the new project in. I did that. It was really helpful. If it's cleaning up at your home, it's time for a family meeting. This idea was something that my mom did, and it really helped when we were kids. So discuss that every item in the home has a home. Every time you use something, it needs to go back to its home. And finally, take action with your intention in mind. Intention is going to be your biggest shifter in this entire process. If you keep repeating your intention, and I don't mean like as an affirmation, I just mean as noticing your intention, you're going to start to see these small changes because you're making change happen. You're taking that action with the intention in mind. And sometimes you can see these changes in less than a month. Now, after all this is said, what if you realize that you think that the reason why you don't have time to date is because you actually think you're going to be wasting your time trying to date? I get it. I was there years ago. I used to create a profile, pay for the subscriptions on numerous apps, only to force myself to date like it was my second job. I only allowed myself to do this for like 3 months before I would swear off the apps for good and say all men were taken in my town. But that wasn't true. That was my truth. That was what I was experiencing. I made up that story to my dating experiences because it felt very similar to so many other single women I knew. It was easier to go along with what everyone else said was happening to them instead of trying to figure out what was really going on. Eventually, I set my intention. I knew that there had to be someone out there for me if I could just figure out how to find him. So frustrating, I know. Well, lady, let me tell you, I have something coming, something that I do with my one on one clients over a course of 3 sessions. And it's the exact process I used to date with intention. It's the exact process that I used to hold myself accountable. And it is the exact process that led me to find my now husband. I'm going to be announcing it soon, but for my ladies on my email list, they are getting first dibs. You can sign up for my email list by taking my 16-question quiz, What's Sabotaging Your Life? Or you can go to my website and scroll to the bottom of the homepage to sign up for Lady Love Lessons. I'm going to be including both links in the show notes. All right, lady, have a wonderful day and stay tuned for next week's episodes. On Tuesday, I have a guest. Let me take that back. I have 2 fantastic ladies joining me. And then on Thursday, I have Brad coming back for another couch conversation. And like I said, have a wonderful day, and I will chat again with you soon.